Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Welcome to our January 2nd meeting for Highway Park Recreation Committee. All right, we've got minutes that were sent out. One. Good morning. Got minutes that were sent out, so I need a motion to approve the minutes from our December meeting. Motion, a second, please.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. All right, so there we go. We've got our minutes approved from our December 5th meeting. We've got some members of community joining us this morning. Good, welcome. So I'm gonna start out with public comment. If you folks are here for some certain reason, please tell us what that's about.
We're here to restore the disc golf course at Blatnick Park. Home with glory. To discuss a reduced mowing plan. Save you guys some money mowing.
We're going with that theory again, huh?
Okay, so tell us about that.
My name's Ellen DeVero and I live at 1322 Hawthorne Road in Skuna. I'm a member of the CAC. So the the Conservation Advisory Council. So we had been working with the town and we had done like this we're doing like a low mow initiative on the cap. And then there's a couple of disc golf
Baskets.
that are up there, and then there's some that are on the lower portion. And when we first initially made our disc golf course, it was like one of the first in the area. It was really widely used. There's actually an app that can tell you where people are playing and how much. And so and there are certain times of the year that our disc golf is played more. There's like one tournament that we do here. Jeff knows way more, but I kind of wanted to try to see if we could condense or move or figure it out so that we could maybe reduce some of that on the top and maybe move some of those. By no means am I a disc golf expert. That's why I reached out to Jeff because I knew he had helped design it and for some more input, and then to try to make it so that it is a little bit better. He has a band of people that will be helpful, and so he just
Volunteers that can help out drastically.
so. But and so I just kind of wanted to start the conversation in the new year and to see what plans laid for, and then there. That was my thought point.
Jeff, what's your last name?
Wiechowski, WIECHOWSKI. I'm also a board member of DISCAP, Disc Golfers Capital Region. We've been very integral in turning parks into new courses over the past decade or more, 20 years kind of thing. Blatnick was one that we was approached by Niskayuna many moons ago, back when Central Park and Schenectady's course went in. They saw how much play that it got, how many more people brought to the park, and Blatnick Park was kind of underutilized at the time because it was a landfill. And so the Niskayuna of the town at the time told us that they'd pay for it, install it, and maintain it if we designed it. So we designed it, and it worked for a little while. Weather in that way, that cap being so muddy keeps the tractor from mowing out there. At times we understand that, but there are times out there when it's not mowed. With this low mow initiative, it was turned into no mow initiative. So I looked at the overhead through Google Maps, and it looks about 33 acres, give or take, is what if you mow the entire cap. I can get that down to 17, maybe even 15, if we mowed just fairways. There are areas in the park that you guys mow that another company, I think, contract mows the ball fields.
Yeah.
In and around those, some of the areas around the the golf range and stuff like that. There's a couple of holes on the disc golf course that you guys, that mowing company does take care of. It's a little more grassy, less,
In the woods?
not in the woods, but along the edge of the woods kind of
Oh,
thing.
okay.
So along the driveway, along the roadway that leads to the gravel area.
Yeah, we know
And
that.
of course, that court, that hole gets mowed. Some of the other areas from the first few holes, the initial cap, when I was told a long time ago, the first few holes of the course by the dog park, that cap is an older landfill.
Yeah.
Want to understand?
It's a separate, it's a brushy area more than garbage.
But it's a more firmer ground. So the
So
tractor.
we try to keep that mode for just activities, people using the park because it is a nice green space. People cut across there to go down into the
trail.
trails and the ravines. And it's just an area of green space that is not manicured like the parks, but just a green space for people to use. It's other than the backside down by the hole that goes down in the woods by the pond, it's fairly simple to keep mowed, and we try to keep that. So as you pull in the park, it looks nice and it's usable.
That's understood. I guess our pitch today is to get the other cap mowed partially.
So we
Just-
did try to do, I actually did it myself, tried to do fairways going from hole to hole. It took me quite a bit with the map, trying to figure out what hole went where. That was
I understand, not
Little-
being a disc golfer, you don't know
a
that.
little confusing to me. I mean, the first year I did it, I think I had the tee box to the wrong hole, but I think last year I had it pretty much.
Late in the season, we did notice a mow that was done.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long for somebody to come out there, a disc golfer to come out there and say, holy cow, they mowed it, because it's been so many years since it's been done.
Yeah.
When it gets done, the news is out and it gets out, and it shows in the numbers, in the play numbers. The app she was talking about is called a UDisc. It's global. Every course that's public, that's available to play, is on there, and it tracks scores played, basically rounds played. I installed a course in Malta back in 2018, 2019, and just recently finished up tee pads stuff and paper tee pads, and so the course is complete. And the numbers there have doubled basically over the past couple of years, kind of thing, for usage. Granted, this is a park that's mowed areas. Wooded areas are not needed to be maintained because of the fact of foot traffic. You get enough golfers going through there to keep that fairways matted down thing. And the rest of the park area courses are mowed areas, like you guys say, that are more beautification kind of things. But it's its own beast because it's a landfill.
Right.
Not used, and it's a lot bigger area too. This course is 70 acres. The whole park, or the park is
Right.
70 acres, but we only use, very few acres of actually mowed area kind of thing. We use it in April. We run a tournament in that April, but in late March, purposely because the grass is laid down.
Right.
It's an early space in the year to use it kind of thing. So it gets used now because it's
Yeah.
it's not covered in snow. It gets used covered in snow kind of thing.
I see them out there.
Yeah.
So I
But
guess-
yeah, that's the
yeah.
one big complaint about disc golfers, about that course. They love the course because it's unique to all the other courses in the area. All the other courses in the area are park layout, wooded layouts. This is the main obstacle at Blatnick is the wind in the hills.
Yeah,
It makes the course completely unique. Every time you play it, it's different because the wind's blowing some way different. And we're throwing this.
do you have a better overlay, or is there a link in which I can get a better aerial view?
I have a Google Maps that I can probably send a link to.
Yeah. I saw that this was on the books, and I just wanted to come and start the conversation and actually maybe just set up a time that we could talk or try to figure something out that works best or stuff like that. So it was just to come say, use the public, time to just say, can we meet? Can we have a talk about this? Is this something in our purview that can happen, or we can start working little by little to try to make it a little, because I would like to make it, I would like to, take you know, I mean, I started to walk the course the other day, but it was kind of wet.
Yeah.
So I just, so I need to go back and rewalk it with, better shoes. And then, but I would like to just, I just want to make it so it's a little bit better and a little bit, and maybe like move one or two of them or fix them so that we're able
Is
to.
that
use
a
them.
thing? Did you guys do the layout? Isn't it a good layout?
I did the design, the layout's good, it uses a lot of the hillside. Her pitch to me was to move some of the holes off into the woods off the cap, so less would have to be mowed. Problem with that is, you guys originally, the town restricted us for areas we could use. There's an area past around the corner from your guys's gravel piles and stuff like that. That is a bird
Yeah. you don't
sanctuary
wanna
kind of
go
thing.
there.
They don't want any. That was a beautiful area over there. There's a few beautiful oak trees that we had spied out when we first looked at it, and they were like, "No, you can't go over there." So we kind of restricted where we could go. That gorge in the middle of the
Where you fly over it?
Yeah.
The T-box over the top of it?
yeah, that one is the end of it. The wooded area of the gorge would be kind of great, except for travel in and out of the thing. Plus the fact there's a lot of trash down there, a lot of metal, rusted metal, a lot of danger down back there. So we want to kind of avoid that area too. So we ended up mostly out on the cap, and being out on the cap definitely needs to be mowed more often. The mow more often thing is that the grass itself has an endless supply of fertilizer below, so that stuff grows like grass. Grows faster than normal grass.
I think it'd be a lot easier for us to maintain if we had a better idea and a better layout and a better, where the fairways should be. And, I try to do 2 to 3 mower widths wide, which is, we got about a 16-foot mower,
Okay,
so that people aren't chasing
that's
frisbees,
the disc golfers are in agreement with that. They're
not
like,
everybody's real good.
no, yeah, obviously, yes, but in the rough, if you really have the fairways, when you're talking about golf, they have a lot of the golf and disc golf have a lot of the same nomenclatures kind of thing. You have fairways, you have rough. Our rough is way rougher kind of thing. When you chase a
I'm
black,
sure there's a
it's
few
gonna
Happy
be
Gilmores in your group.
almost definitely. Yeah. I might actually be working.
Okay, so I think we should just, we'll team up with you, Ray.
With me,
We'll-
yeah.
We'll set up a little plan, we'll just see what comes from it.
I think if you're happy with the original layout you did, and, we can come up with a fairway plan to make what we have work, rather than moving a lot of stuff.
Requiring you guys to mow the entire cap, because that entire cap, that stays.
Well,
with
see,
it.
we did this we did mow it.
Yeah.
We mowed it every couple months,
Yeah.
and that would work because you didn't have real tall grass around. So with other folks, we only have so much land. We try to give everybody a little piece of what they want. We don't have an issue. I mean, we actually invested about $15,000 in a different style mower because of the low mow initiative, because we had more of a grass cutting when we were mowing the whole thing. We had the width, but we had to stay on it every few weeks, and when it got muddy, we couldn't.
No,
It
you
would
can't
clump
check.
up and mow. So the town did make the investment in a different style mower, which works good for the fairways. It just, if I had a better layout to make this work, once it's mowed and it's correct, it's not bad. You can grab a day here or there and do, you could probably do it in 2 days, half up on top, half down below. So
I would walk it, ride it with you to make
Yeah.
it to make it happen right. Definitely.
we can do that.
A few extra signposts. We did signposts way back when. You probably were part of that, and we've been here the whole time. Some of the tees are missing, didn't get signposts, in which case they got mowed over kind of thing, and that also probably leads you to confusion as you're mowing out there. Because, like I said, because all the other courses that are out here in the capital region have fairways that are defined kind of thing. You have a tee sign, you stand up on the tee and you look at the tee signs, you say, look at the sign, and you look down the fairway and say, okay, this is the way that goes. Fairway. The sign says it goes that you dogleg left. So if you look down there and you can see that there's trees lining it kind of.
Yeah.
Out Blatnick, it's wide open. It's a straight shot.
But I'd be happy to, go over some stuff with you,
All right.
walk it, ride it. whatever we can do.
That was the basis of our discussion this morning. is
I
to
don't see,
Open a dialogue this year, New Year's resolution.
you know, we support it and we try. I mean, obviously you're, hip to when it's muddy like that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but
Mud is mud, bugs are bugs, you know, but there's another downfall of flattening is the tall grass in the woods in the nature is ticks. We're in New York State, upstate New York, there's ticks. More so there because the tall grass attracts them a little bit more. You know,
you get out to grease that mower or change a belt on that mower, you know there's ticks, because you're covered in them by the time you're done. So, but we support it, and, you know, I think with a little more of, you know, what you're bringing to us and an idea of what you're looking for.
wish I had a way to DCS your mower so that you could.
Was there like a
No.
map of original plans? You said you could send that?
Yes. There's,
I
like I
don't
said,
do Big Brother.
you just have to have a map of the forest, the whole place.
Be all you need. So if you get,
This-
it's got a map of
this-
the course on it.
This is my moving maps kind of thing. The purple is the actual overhead. The yellow would be mowing fairways and connectors between holes kind of thing. We could bring that down even further, I think, because some of the connectors between a basket and the next tee could only be one width wide. You just one pass and you make a path basically from that basket to the next tee. Kind of thing. The course has two sets of tees on every hole, so they aren't just a short and a long tee, one in front of the other. They're separated out a little bit. And so you come at the basket at a different angle and you use the hillside differently for one particular tee pad or another.
Are you able to email that to me?
We'll set up a meeting,
Yes,
and
yeah.
you can get them by email
We're happy to work with you on that, and,
and see
you
what
know,
we
if
come up with.
instead of moving them holes, if you wanna maybe in the later date, try to enhance some of them wooded, ones that you have. Maybe move the baskets in there or whatever, but
Some good wood ones, there's other ones in hole 4 back there by the green swamp.
Yeah.
But three is cool. Then there's a hole back in the woods that backtracks in the woods there, and that's where everything drains off onto. And that is a swamp no matter, it's mushy no matter what.
Yeah. well, we do have wood chip resources and stuff like that where
I see the piles over there. We
can't- we can't do
it.
everything in a day, but if there's a plan put in place where when we do have time, or like normally this time of year when it's frozen, we're able to get in them wet areas and we can lay down a pad of wood chips or whatever, which will help depress the weeds and keep them down some and just make it walkable. So
You guys went through there a few times, you know, originally there was a lot of carving done, and you guys got tractors back there at one point. in
Yeah.
time. I get crews back there kind of thing before the Black Breeze, which is the end of March. This will be the 8th one we run this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
it sells out in minutes, you know, 72 players, 4 players on every hole. It'll sell out in minutes, and there'll be a 20-person wait list.
Is there a fee for that?
Yes.
What's the fee?
Oh,
You can
depending on
email-
the division you play in, pros play for probably $60 pop. You take out tournament, expenses and stuff like that.
That goes to the organization?
No, they play back into it. Which they play for it. Basically.
Oh, so it's like a pot of money.
Oh, yeah. Cash.
you
Yeah,
have
sure.
my
Amateurs.
you have my email?
Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll just send an email,
Okay,
the
that'll
three of
be
us, and we'll set up a time and,
Follow up.
yeah.
Can I get your email? Actually, I want to connect with you and maybe I can just talk about that so that we know well, I don't know. You probably don't. But just to have a little bit more information about that. tomorrow.
And discount.net.
Thinking the same thing. I was gonna say Luke Jean and maybe we can
So
put
it's
the map
Jeff
online
W.
too. Be nice to have it.
Yeah. And then there's
What did you say that app was called? You did it. Yes, okay.
Yeah, because when I looked at it, I preserved.
Location settings on here, thing you go courses,
But
gives you the closest course.
I know nothing about this, so even just so that I know more.
But it goes by recommended right now, so Blatnick will go down the list a little ways, you'll go a little further away before you find Blatnick on those recommended ones. Don't- Oh, well, people review it, people that play it review it. You get 4 reviews, it's going down the list kind of thing. And if you looked at all the ratings here and all the reviews on it, it's like, this course would be great if they mowed it. Cause
Yeah.
these people walked out there in the middle of June or something like that to play and they're knee deep in grass kind of thing, looking for discs every time. Granted, they're bigger than a golf ball. There's just that hill is just,
Well, we've never had to return a green space, so with that.
that's what's good. That's, yeah.
About that.
Thank you. We didn't take- Conversation.
All right,
Thank you, and if you even have people in a roundabout, we'll do a meeting. All right, I'll make this quick now, Bill. All right, just our normal highway crews, pre-complaint, requests, patching right this time of year is full patch. Basin repairs, as we get them washouts, fall ins, people out walking their dog, jogging, whatever. Notice these things. Thank you.
You guys,
Number 3 is personnel, highway and parks. So we've been interviewing, we've had some, I think we've had 4 or 5 interviews. We're looking, we'll probably have a couple names for you this month to put on. We're hoping to do at least 2 now and then maybe 1 next month if, out of the people that we interviewed, so. If they stay interested, we'll be looking for that. Parks crews, you'll see them in various parts, trim and brush, parks maintenance. Still servicing and replacing blades and stuff on the mowers that we're done with for the season so that they're ready to go in the spring. We will be doing some extensive brush cutting on the bike path once it freezes. So, obviously we'll put up signage on the bike path, stating we're working on it. We may have to, we're gonna go in with the big boom mower, trim that stuff back. We identified some drainage areas down around the lot 7 area that we would like to do in the springtime. So, the reason we do the heavy brush cutting this time of year is there's no foliage on the trees. It doesn't look like a disaster when you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you do it this time of year, when the spring buds come out, it essentially heals itself. So, that's why we use this opportunity. Plus, we don't like to go on the bike path when there's no frost in the ground with the big equipment. It ruts it up, takes the longevity out of the path. So, we want to do more good than bad. So weather is a dependent on that.
Find the right
So
window.
we gotta find that window. So we've identified, we would really like to do all the way from Lions Park to, Line Drive, is our target area right now. We did Anthony Street to Aqueduct Road, beginning of last year. That could probably use another touch up, but our target area for drainage and stuff is between lot 7 and Line Drive. So that'll be going on. We'll try to keep that posted as we do that. Number 5, yard waste pickup. Oh, I'm on the wrong agenda.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm using mine.
You're doing fine.
All right, so we'll go with the yard waste pickup has been completed. So normally we're done a little after the beginning of December, first week of December. We did have a few snowstorms in the beginning of the month. The crews toughed it out, went back out there, tried to do all they could do. We did get through zones 3 and 4. We're not able to clean up like we do during the fall months because stuff is frozen to the ground. You can't get everything, but they made an honest effort to try to get everybody taken care of.
I had a few
And
people mention it. They're very appreciative.
So-
It's great that you're doing it.
Very good job.
it's a lot of extra work. I give the guys a lot of credit for being out there doing this. It is not a fun job. Just as a couple highlights on that, we had 4,196 man hours for the loose leaf pickup alone.
Is that on that worksheet that you updated?
Yeah, I got another one for you. So we picked up approximately 9,500 yards, which is equivalent to 475 10-wheeler loads of leaves. So massive amount, and that is just loose leaf. That has nothing to do with our yearly yard waste pickup. So
So this one is just loose leaf.
just loose leaf.
That's like the
Yeah,
sucker thing
Yeah.
or the jigger. Okay. That makes me sick to my stomach a little bit. Go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's big. So, that is done, and, number 5, Christmas tree pickup. So, Lori was kind enough to post that on the website. I put a copy on here, so
Page, yeah.
on the back page. It is on the website.
Yeah.
It starts on 1/6, which is this coming Monday. I see a few trees out there. So, you may see a truck out there today or tomorrow where, the Packer's been parked a month or two, had some maintenance done on it. We want to make sure that it's, okay to do this. So because I kicked that back till Monday, I carried it for an extra week into February. So you get a full month of Christmas tree pickup. So when you have them ready, please put them curbside. Yeah.
If you keep it alive, I would. But it's already dead, fallen over.
Please be courteous and, remove anything off these trees, no plastic bags. The town does recycle these trees. We pick them up whole, we bring them down, we run them through a chipper, and we utilize this compost that we create for trails, flower beds, whatever. We use it as compost in these areas. So that's why we can't have any of that metal stuff on there. Number 7, town board resolution, hiring 2 grounds workers, and award contracts for equipment purchases. So you may have a long list of these.
So, no, we don't do it.
No, most of them have contracts or state contracts or, Sourcewell. When we did our quotes last year, we tried to get as many of these, like the pickup truck is that Lewis County that I used last year. Sourcewell, some are the Onondaga County for the larger trucks. So in doing this, the back truck, which is our largest purchase, that and the excavator for this year. So Kenny researches these contracts and pounds the pavement for these things. And so we found a Vector truck, a back truck. It was built for a contractor. It's a 2025 cabin chassis, so it's what we would be ordering. It has a little more stuff on it than we would actually buy ourselves, because we scale them down to keep the price down. They have this truck on site. We got the specs from it. We got the pictures of it. So it's really above and beyond what we would have ordered. And if we can purchase this vehicle, it is on contract, we can save about $12,000 from what I asked for. So, and it's a new vehicle. It hasn't been used. It was just spec built for somebody else. We're gonna get some extra options that we necessarily wouldn't have ordered to keep the price down. And
saving 12.
and we're saving about $12,000. So we're excited about that. like I said, we got the build sheet in on it. We got some pictures of it. We're gonna do a thunder run up to do an inspection, on-site inspection of it, and, hopefully have all that paperwork for this month to get that approved. So, you know, it eliminates a year build out for us, or at least 9 months build out for that. Saves us $12,000 and we'd be able to get it.
We got this in the budget.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, this
So
was a
it's already-
big, this was a big
But-
purchase.
Yeah. But, you know, by not building it and sometimes
waiting.
taking stuff off and make it a specialty thing it'll cost you more money,
Yeah.
so. We're excited about this. We're hoping that this works. The reason that we're pushing hard to get as many of these contracts passed by the board is we want to do it before there's any price increases for 2025. So
Yeah.
2025 equipment and trucks are already being built. They're built before the beginning of the year. Their build out date doesn't go by the new year, so they fall under what we're looking for. And we're gonna try to get as many of these and hopefully get some more savings on these. Because the quotes we do obviously are the year before, because we're doing budgets in August, so. But they try to tell us if they anticipate an increase, and we include that when we submit for what we're purchasing, so. Off to a good start if we can make that work. Hopefully we can do that with some other items as well. So I'll have quite a bit of them, Elena, but I will get them to you ASAP so that you can look at the contracts and all that.
Also helps not to have like a dump of things with everybody else dumping everything on me like the day
Well,
before.
I get,
Packets
I
do,
get
you
them
know?
to you early, so we'll just have to wait in line for that.
I was like, I'm just sitting here.
Number 7, Alba Drive. So the supervisors got some calls on this. I know Matt did. This has been going on for a couple of years.
This has been for 2 years.
Yeah.
Few years, yeah. I think the neighbor came last year and the across the street neighbor came to our meeting last year, I believe, and voiced his opinion. So what we have there is, from what we've identified, and I think we need to send either the building department over there, maybe in conjunction with
I was there on Friday.
with your engineers. So it looks like some improvements were made in the backyard. There's a pop-up valve that pops up out of the grass and lets the water discharge. I think originally, but again, I don't want to speak out of place. I think if you go back to the original grading plan, I think there was a swale there that ended fairly up on the property, and then it dispersed and soaked into the ground or shed evenly out. It's been extended and direct pipe, so I think our flow increases more. You know, I get, as a homeowner trying to protect their property, I get it, but we just have to. It has now caused a hardship in the road and actually a safety issue,
Yeah.
because the ice gets about a foot thick there.
We gotta get this.
It's-
Yeah, so my question, so we've been out there, there's 2 properties side by side. The one with the pop-up drain came in for a building permit, about 3 years ago. Did French drain system in the backyard, came across and then discharged it halfway up the hill where the pop-up is. The neighbor next door came in more recently and asked to do a similar thing. And we were in the review of their permit and we said, no. We said, you go back and redesign this. There's a catch base on the other side of his house, which they were directed to tie into there rather than go right into there. He went without getting a permit, extended his line across the backyard and then down, and he daylights it at the pavement.
And that,
That's, so my question is.
That's-
that's what I was gonna you know, like I say, I get that a homeowner wants to protect his property if he's having water issues, but, you know, upon their review, you would actually make him put a catch basin in if he didn't have one in front of there.
Yeah. Well, I have emails from Dan, this is how far back it goes, stating, we will not let you do this because it will cause ice on the road.
And they are
Yeah.
causing, it gets about a
Really,
foot thick there.
yeah.
And it literally shot my plow truck right onto the front lawn.
Okay, so
When it hits
in
the
order
ice.
from the legal department, do we have to cite them?
Usually a notice and order is done first by, I mean, if it's a building department issue, then
I can get
Tom or
Oh.
who does it and tells them that they have to remedy it within like 14 days, and then if it's not done, then it goes to court.
Let's do that today and try to get
Yes.
that moving.
That direction. Basically alluded to that with the property owner, he's now foiled everything. He wants to know what his neighbor was allowed to do and what he's doing.
Just because the neighbor was allowed to do it doesn't mean
Right.
he's allowed to do it. Every property is different, so.
Well, and this
You
is
can
like
do
a
that,
big,
that's fine.
it's a big safety concern, so this is what we're tackling.
He's told
So
not to do
Matt,
it,
can
he
you
did it
work
without
with
permission.
engineering and building on that? Cause it really doesn't, other than impacting the road, and we've been keeping it salted and everything, but, and you work with Elena on that to do
Absolutely.
whatever documentation and all that.
Absolutely.
You guys have. You guys have more knowledge of what transpired.
Well,
up
I
there
wanted,
than
I
do.
wanted to know when you started seeing the ice.
Well, I believe the across the street neighbor came in last year because he actually said I should put a basin in for him, and I disagreed that he did the improvements. He should have been made to put a basin in or tie into the basin.
2
I-
years.
I think it was about a year ago. I can confirm that.
There's statute of limitation, so.
Let's roll.
But he was denied.
Yeah, he still have a statute of limitations in which we can bring a cause of action against somebody. It's not definite. I had no idea about any of this until today.
I didn't know it was
So-
this bad. I don't think we were, it wasn't confirmed that it was this drain that was causing it and they needed to go
Yeah,
and
but he did
confirm
work
it
without a
Friday.
permit that wasn't approved, so he should have
Yeah.
been cited way back when that happened.
Well, I think we
Yeah.
just confirmed that Friday though, right? That it was not the way that it was designed.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, he basically, we even had the county health department out there because he was trying to blame it on the house behind him on Van Antwerp Road for the failing septic systems.
But it brings up a good point. So when these probable violations, we should move on them as quickly as possible. I have one other one that I'm thinking. of.
Nobody can just discharge water onto the highway. onto
No.
the road. It does.
Well, they
No
would
matter when that
deny,
happens,
they would
right?
deny the permit if that's, it has to go through engineering when they're doing improvements like that. You know, we approve like if they're tying into the catch basin and inspect it, but that goes through Matt and engineer. I mean, we've identified ones that have been out there and made them correct them. So,
Okay, we gotta get on this right away.
Hill too, right? That one house that was.
County
put the
road.
the wrong, yeah, it was.
Bring that one up.
stay in your lane there.
No pun intended.
So we'll move forward with that with engineering and building.
Maybe we'll have an update by the time I have our water meeting later.
Okay. Open discussion, speed signs were installed on Alice Wagner Way.
Thank you.
That was a request and supported by the police department through the supervisor's office, so we got that installed, called locations in, installed that. From police department, some signs were corrected on Bangor Avenue Extension. Through the police department's request, and then no outlet sign removed, and there was an improper speed limit sign, so we rectified that. Anything other than that for me?
Anybody else got anything else for Ray?
I just want to thank Ray. Yeah, we had a break. When we needed some additional manpower, and he provided 2 guys to help out. Appreciate that. Thank you. Welcome.
Put them together.
Yeah, well.
All right. Lori, your turn.
Alrighty, December events recap. We had a very busy December. Toys for Tots, we ended our collection with 6+ full boxes. If I had a 7th, I probably could have filled it up because it was overloaded. It was the biggest collection we've had to date, which thrills me. And I want to thank everybody who participated. Things in my very own wish tags. We had a record year this year. We received 1,186 tags, emailed out 951, and the remainder were taken from the tree, which means that in all, we helped 1,100 families have.
That's awesome. That's a great
Yeah,
number.
thrilled.
Yeah, that's.
We were the only location that emailed out tags. And on 3 different occasions, I got an emergency text from them. We have 85 tags returned from a company. Can you help us out? All I had to do was send out an email through Rec One, and literally those tags would be gone by the end of the day. It's just like, it's overwhelming how generous the people around here are. But we also had people from New York City, California, like, send me whatever you can. I'll help you out. It's just
That's nice.
amazing what people will do around the holidays. It's kind of, I know, makes me want to cry, but I'm just overwhelmed and I'm thrilled that we are able to help all these families. Our tree lighting was on Friday, December 6th. This year we had a record turnout. Very special thanks to Ray and his highway department for our beautiful tree, which is going to be planted in one of the parks in the spring. Thanks to the Niskayuna Community Foundation for the hot chocolate and candy canes, and from the Niskayuna High School Choir, under the direction of Christina Pizzino and Catalano, providing entertainment and singing an array of holiday tunes. This was a magical night, and it could not help without everybody's help. So thank you to everyone. The following night, we had Parents' Night Out, another successful sold-out night with 24 children, ages 4 to 10. They made crafts, watched the Polar Express, and admission was free, but was a one unwrapped toy for Toys for Tots. So another way to fill up that box. Another great night. And thanks to the local Girl Scouts who volunteered and helped Julie make this a great night for all. January, February events, we have our ski club starting January 10th. It runs through February 14th. We have a full bus. Julie's looking for chaperones. If anyone, she gets 4 free chaperone tickets per night. If anybody would like to go, right up in the bus, chaperone and ski for free, give her a call. She'd love to have you.
Friday nights, right?
Friday nights. And let's see, it doesn't start this week, it starts next week, so we're hoping for more snow. Adult Tai Chi starts Tuesday, January 7th and runs through March 11th for ages 18 and over, and registration is now open on the website. As far as summer planning, summer employment applications would be accepted for all summer positions starting February 1st through March 1st. Applications will be found online starting the week of January 13th, and interviews for all those will be begin in mid-March. We're also going to have an application. This is the first time we've actually really ever done this for summer camp contractors. Looking for some new and fresh ideas for camps. I mean, I love the ones we have, but we'd like to expand and do some more. There might be something out there that's neat. That will be on the website as well, the week of January 13th, and interviews for that will be rolling. And the summer program book, as always, would be online and open for registration on April 1. I've already started reaching out to the contractors from last year to participate again. And the next items are Jean.
Okay, 2024 softball wrap up. Still haven't gotten paid from softball, and wanted to kind of see where we go from here with this.
So when was the last time that we
Either
had?
Crossfire or Niskayuna softball. Neither one
Crossfire,
has
I
paid.
think we've talked to more recently, but when was the last time we had a conversation with anyone from softball?
Well, I've sent them all their invoices and I
No.
haven't spoken to them.
Nothing back. Okay.
Yeah, nothing back.
Well, we were sort of saying we wanted to meet with them before we met with a bigger group later in the month too. So maybe we could reach out to them today, tomorrow, and see if we can get them in for next week. Just to kind of, let's finish the conversation at least. Coincidentally, I did have a meeting with a couple of residents who live around the parks, and they were very concerned about the splash pad going in and there being just too many people in a small parks, relatively small park. So I think probably we just need to be more communicative with them about the tournaments and how many people to anticipate. And we have to remember that the park is there for everybody and not just Niskuna softball. So that's probably a conversation piece as well.
But I think one thing I'm also doing, and Lori and I have talked about, is this week I'm gonna start working on updating the facility use manual, just to, which we said was going to be like a
Yeah.
yearly update, which I think in there, we will be putting a little bit more, strains on ornaments in there, for
We need to get a
parking.
little idea how many we can handle it.
Yeah.
Right, like, okay, and limit it to whatever the number of teams are or the size of these events.
We talked about the event application through ED, which would really kind of flow somewhat through community programs. So we could add that to the scheduling, the ML schedules, add like an application and say sort of like the tournament, just like any other big event in town, needs to go through that process. And that might be a way for us to kind of understand how many people, let them know how many porta potties they need, et cetera, so that we don't run into the same issues that we've had in the past.
I've had ongoing email dialogue with them about this and have given them the recommendations based on, it's like one porta potty per 50 people. It has not been followed, but
Depends, we've had these conversations
So
with
many
this club in
times.
particular multiple times and they do not care.
Well, then they're gonna have to be, we'll have to work on what we need to do as far as codes. And I think we also need a sort of a date that all club fees need to be paid by, whatever, April 1st, whatever that date
Yeah, we
is.
talked
If they
about that,
aren't,
yeah.
or prior to that, no events will be had. And violations,
They pay is based on usage and they
Right.
withhold the usage from us because they don't want to pay what they're supposed to pay. That one, there's an easy solution that nobody likes. I'm gonna keep throwing it out there.
we have to do something like that, we have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
These parks and facilities are not just for individual sports clubs. And
Let's set our own deadline for ourselves to keep it, like, keep the conversation flowing. Like maybe we say we have a conversation with one or more of them by the end of next week.
Yeah. Which kind of rolls into the next with having a meeting to discuss policies and scheduling, which I think is great. And we can pick a date for that, do you think, Erin?
I would love to. I was thinking the week in between the two meetings would be the best, but essentially we have things obviously that we want to communicate. We would like to float some of the changes to the facility use manual to get some feedback before they're voted on, right? And then just kind of what we've talked about just as a smaller group is taking a pause on anything more in the parks until we sort of catch up on the things that haven't yet been completed. And we need to sort of level set everything before we start. Every club, when they get started, and I love the enthusiasm, wants to change this and add that and modify this. And I think we just need to take a deep breath and finish up the projects that we have in process and then, start to make some more formal plans instead of just haphazardly throwing things together every year. So we want to have that conversation.
One, I agree, and also the town's working on the comprehensive plan, so, to kind of wait and see what their recommendations and everything are, I think would be helpful, but also, I think this, but any changes to the facilities use manual has to be done by resolution.
Yeah,
yeah.
we were going to float the ideas before they go
Okay.
out. That way
Yeah.
we don't have, they're kind of like in the know before things go into effect. But
And
that week,
although the parks are used by the groups, I mean, their parks are also used by the people of this town, and there's a lot of maintenance things that may not be a big thrill to them, but it needs to be done. There's a lot of things that have been, we have to maintain what we own and already do then before we go keep putting new stuff on.
Yeah.
I think
I agree.
we got a little catch up to do, and it's,
We've been down people as well, and it's we got even more parkland this past year, so it's like there's no shortage of projects, so I feel like adding
Right,
more
but
is just.
settle down and take care of what we already have existing,
I agree.
before we go taking on much more of, the 2025 wish list, so, you know,
So we were talking about the week of the 20th. I assume it's gonna be a little easier for folks in these clubs to do maybe later in the day or earlier in the morning, before or after work. I know I don't want to keep anybody here too late. I know you usually start the day or on the earlier end. I don't mind doing it in the morning. I don't know if we would have enough availability with the clubs. Do we want to put something out there with like a doodle poll and see what time?
probably should, because that they may have changed people too, don't they?
Yes.
The clubs, both their
Leadership.
boards
Right,
and
yeah.
leadership,
And
so
we
we
should.
may be dealing with new people too, so.
So maybe we can email out in the next couple of days that kind of says, we're gonna meet this week. We'd like to include all of these people, really anyone from those boards would be helpful to have in the room, maybe probably more than one person.
We're not many, right? We're gonna invite like the main person.
I would say more than one person, because I think in the past, what's happened is that we have conversations with personalities, and sometimes that information is not necessarily communicated accurately because of whatever is going on. So I feel like having just even one more person might help.
Say like the president and maybe the guy that does the maintenance or whatever.
Sure. Or whoever, someone else on the board that helps with that stuff, like someone else that's part of the leadership, but I do feel like at least one more person might be helpful as far as communication goes. But maybe we just send it out to at least however many email addresses we have and say, hey, we're looking for, 2-ish people to come.
Couple of your representatives.
And have whoever wants to do it, fill out the doodle poll, do a couple morning times, couple late afternoon times. I don't want to make everybody, I know we have a lot of, I think, long meetings this month, so I don't want to make it in the evening, but if we have to, maybe throw one evening date out there. But we're looking at that week of the 20th.
But obviously, probably everything wouldn't be settled in one meeting anyway.
No,
We gotta at least start somewhere.
true. I was thinking about it more as sort of not like a huge conversation, but more of like, here's what we're thinking as a town, and then they can digest it and come back to us with their feedback instead of it being a big, back and forth. We'd be here for days.
I mean, a lot of them, it's fine, but, ultimately, when they do their own improvements, we end up taking possession of them, and that just is more maintenance. So, like I said, we need to focus on some of the stuff we already have.
Sometimes they just don't realize that, like they have all the best intentions and it just, So, okay, so we have a bunch of follow-up for these, like we'll just softball and then the meeting thing, but we'll try to get it done that week. Hopefully we'll have some time.
Yeah, maybe Brady, I could just reach out to you and ask like what kind of policies for maintenance in the sense of like how you would like to see
Oh, yeah.
requests be done and that kind of stuff. So when I'm writing this up, I can get your input on that. Did you?
No,
the one
I
that's
think
affected
the way
most
we did it last year, where they went through your office and between you, Lori, and then you guys facilitate to me. I can have every friend in the world call me wanting to borrow wrench or borrow rake. I mean, because you guys write the documents and you guys write the agreements. And, not that you're gonna tell them yes or no, but at least there's a chain to get to me. Because they will ask in a lot of different directions.
Oh, yeah.
And which I get it, they gotta have certain stuff done, so. It's fair to say we're obligated to do that, but it should be through the chain and, you guys have the online calendar and you guys have, make guys sit in on all these agreements and on with Elena, so I think it starts with you and comes to me.
Do we want to do that event application for tournaments and stuff? Does that need to be like a resolution where we kind of outline what happens after the application, or do we need anything like
And
that?
I mean, I'm assuming it's something that's, I think when we talked about it, we were talking about updating the code with it, because there's a provision in the code we don't want it to contradict. So I
Okay.
think the best way to do it would be to
Do a
do it
code
as an
change.
amendment to the code. And we can put some language in there like we did with the yard waste, whereas if there's like minor tweaks, or whatever, that can be done by board resolution, but as far as like. You want to have something in there if there's penalties for somebody not complying and
Yeah,
like that.
we're just sort of missing stuff in the code that we do, but there's nothing sort of spelling out. So we'll work with Jordan too, because I know that's been on his.
So I'd like to know, like for parking, I mean, I know that we're very strong when it comes to businesses and how much they can park, but it doesn't seem like tournaments and things, I mean, the overflow
And it's a lot of,
of cars and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, we don't seem to have any kind of restrictions on.
They did start at the end of last year using Rosendale and
Yeah.
walking through the trail, so, oh yeah.
okay.
I mean, that was my suggestion from the beginning.
No, I know, but they did utilize your thoughts in that as the construction wound down over there at Iroquois. They did start to do that at the end of the year.
Do we need to talk to the school for like recommending that they do that for tournaments? We have to say something to the school.
I don't know who that person is anymore, because it used to be Moscow, who was like the connector, and I don't know who the connector is.
I'd reach out to the assistant superintendent for business and operations, because he'll put, his name's Matt Leon.
Yeah, like,
I would just email him and he'll shoot to the right person. He might even just be the person to talk to.
okay, so, sorry, farmer's market.
We have to make some decisions on farmers market. It's really messy from a financial and liability perspective. Not to mention, we kind of need to figure out where it's gonna go next year, because it was not working out here. I had a good conversation with the farmers market folks maybe about a month ago, and kind of just laid it all out to them and said, here are all of the issues and complications. And so we just need to make some decisions. Right now, the concept of the farmers market lives somewhere in between an outside organization and something under community programs. It really isn't a formal community program thing. And I think that was purposeful at the time that it was brought in, but I don't know if that's where we want it now. It might be easier for us from like a financial reporting perspective and insurance perspective, if it is under community programs. But if we don't want it, we have to be clear, and we have to have them go out and create their own 501c3 and have their own bank account.
I don't think it ever was.
I don't think it ever
It
was.
used to be
We can't find
Fulham,
any.
right, is where it started.
Yes.
And then
when-
started it. And then
There's
when they
one-
were gonna do the reconstruction over there, they didn't have no room for it, is when it kind of came over to here. I didn't know it was a long-term thing. I thought it was kind of a temporary thing. It got bigger. It definitely got promoted here from where it was.
The things that they're looking at. We have a lot of issues just in using this road, and the police department is uncomfortable with the way we're using the road over here. I know it's a great spot, and a great location, but it doesn't necessarily work.
Yes, maybe still here. So you probably remember, it used to be that the board appointed people to serve essentially on the farmer's market. Like board or whatever, like this board appointed them, and then they kind of did away with that. And so now it's like we have no control over it whatsoever.
Well, it's not formal. Nothing is formal about the way it operates. So that makes me uneasy. And if we are gonna move the location, they talked about doing it over in like the school district parking lot close to Balltown Road, so you could kind of see it in the back end of the parking lot. This is mostly during the summer anyway. If you did that might work. That was an idea they had, and said, oh, we'd still be kind of out in the open. People would see us driving by in Balltown. Well, whose insurance, whose liability if somebody gets hurt, who's this, that, the other thing. So we need to like button all that up before the season starts. And we're kind of getting close, because it's going to take a little while if we do decide to push them out and do a
And then
different.
we would have to bring it to school again, right? Because.
School,
Well, they would have to be.
if they were separate, they would do it. We would have nothing to do with it. We would just be sort of like quasi.
I mean, we say they, who are we referring to?
So there's like That's the other thing. Like I think of them as being sort of like the board of directors for this.
But
It's
it
not
doesn't
formal.
exist.
It's not.
Right, so it's like either, I'm just speaking of it, but to have a group of people establish a 501c3 is not, that's somewhere, have all the bylaws and everything.
No, they would have to. So here's the other option, and I reached out to the Schenectady Green Market. They seemed relatively open to taking on Niskayuna's Farmers Market as sort of like a subsidiary, so to speak. So they would sort of pay them fees to use their corporate structure and also like their bank accounts. And they weren't sure how it would work. And I was just sort of floating the idea to see if we could get it going quicker rather than doing this whole thing. They seemed open to the idea, but I think it would take some legwork and a lot of conversations. And I don't know how much time the folks that are running Farmers Market.
But do we really know who is running the farm?
You what?
Do we know who's running it?
Yes, we have Donna Evans. I spoke with Donna Evans, Libby Kokosha, and obviously Libby's on the
Libby's
school
the-
board, so.
This is just a example. Nobody's running it if it's a town program unless the town has appointed people to run it. If these people want to run it, then they need to establish either they need to work with the town and put the proper procedures and appointments and everything in place. They can't just on their own say, we're running this.
So
And not have it established as some type of entity.
I'm completely
Or
agreeing
under
with
the-
you. I'm just saying these are the people who have been working on the farmers market stuff. I'm aware that they have that's why I'm starting.
I
this
know it's hard
conversation.
because I hear things and I'm like.
Vendors pay
Who do the
fees.
vendors pay the fee to?
Us. We have not had any like supervision,
no.
control, or anything over the way it's run, what goes on, except
We
for the
used to
reporting.
when it was when it first started here and it wasn't at the co-op, we did, but I believe. I don't know if Yasmin just didn't know, but I remember I asked her, I'm like, where are the resolutions showing the appointments? Because that became an issue at one point. And that stuff was just never done. There was never fees set, like we're not supposed to be collecting fees unless there's fees set by resolution.
Yes, this is
So-
all of the same, yeah.
I mean, if we're already collecting it, then for this year, it probably made sense for us to continue.
We've
I don't
been,
think they
but
have- This year, they haven't, I don't think they've collected anything yet this year.
they have, yeah, there's like, I think they've got about $1,900 sitting in this bank account, but
Who's
it's
collecting
our,
it?
they collect it and they give it to us. This was how
Good.
Beth had it set up, but I'm like,
No.
this is not the way we're
No,
supposed to
so
be
that's-
doing things.
That's the problem. Like, I think that's what, when it was initially established and we were doing it, we made the appointments because if it's the town collecting it and we're appointing people to act on the town's behalf,
Mhm.
like as a board, like the CAC or something, then, and I think we always had a town employee or an
Yes.
elected as kind of like the town person so that we could legally take in the money.
And Beth had been doing that,
Right.
but was somewhat, and I don't know who made this decision. This is good, like predates a lot, all of this conversation. They sort of said, we don't really want to deal with this as a town program. We don't even want you using your town time, right? Beth used to take volunteer time on the weekends to work on this. So this is all like very gray area
Yes.
stuff that is, I don't like it. That's why I'm starting the conversation. I'm not, and I don't want to just keep doing it next year, especially if we're moving it off of here.
Right.
We're connected to it. Somebody gets hurt in the parking lot or whatever. I don't know.
I think that, again, it was a new organization, right? So we sort of helped get them started. Now you've got people that are very interested in it. It seems like a very viable program. I think this is the conversation you need to have with them. Now it's time for you guys to take it.
Yes.
I just,
Right.
I agree with you. I don't think they're going to be able to do it quickly enough. Like, I think they need to start now for
Yes.
next year. So maybe the conversation is, this is like, we're gonna carry this for another year. We're gonna pick another location. You may or may not like that location.
Maybe, maybe leave it here one more year. And I'm just,
Well, I'm just saying, if they're gonna grow it, then you're not gonna be able to keep it here another year.
well, that's right. That's conversation with
That's like
with
it.
them.
That's like a whole separate set of issues that Jordan has been.
I was just gonna say, like, it's,
Yeah.
do it in another park, not necessarily like.
So we talked about all the different parks and they didn't really love any of the
But
options.
it's
It's
done that.
But there's also. like,
summer
a lot of
though, it's
summer
summer.
activities.
So it's like Saturday mornings in summer doesn't work for parks. So that's where they came up with this, doing it in the school district parking lot. But even then, that makes me uneasy because this is very like,
You can't move it in this.
We have to have an intermunicipal agreement.
exactly. And only if it's gonna be our program. So anyway, more what I'm saying is we have to make these decisions and we either have to, I think that the ladies who are working on the farmer's market just want to make it work. So I think that they're willing to do whatever it is we want them to do. We just have to decide how we want it set up. And do we want it under community programs? And then we just keep things as is and
I didn't mind. The only reason I think she wanted me to take the money and to deposit it and then send it on to Janet. That's the only involvement I had besides
That's it.
sending out the blasts.
well, and I don't know that you guys would have that much more to do, so to speak, but it would be like making sure the resolutions are there for the fees.
No,
and-
that's awesome. I don't care in the least, but our involvement was minimal. Like,
Yeah. It probably still will be. 'cause
Yeah,
they're
that's awesome.
Good.
Sticky was with the staff. That's where it gets, because all of a sudden
So-
it had to be a town person.
No, that's not an all of a sudden thing. With SNAP, it does have to be, but legally, we should not be having like other people who are not associated with the town collecting money on behalf of the town.
Right. And I think that's where it became an issue that a town person had to volunteer their time.
But
to
we
do
could
it.
pay one of them
Or-
part-time to take the money and they're an employee,
Well,
right?
we can do an online registration so they can pay their fee. And Beth and I had talked about
Yeah.
this last year.
Yeah.
So I'd set up an online registration where they would pay for their vendor fee. So the money would be coming in through that way without me having to physically collect it or somebody else collecting it.
That's perfect.
The issue then would still be the SNAP, but for the most part, the money could.
The other thing with the SNAP though is that we don't have a huge
It doesn't go
SNAP
for it.
usage.
Yeah.
So if it becomes an issue even for this upcoming year, maybe we pause it and then figure it out for
Right.
the.
Their process for SNAP. Sure, they're
Well,
doing.
yeah, and then you can use the coins in either place, which I think was really a great idea. So it's really more just making it worthwhile for Green Market to do it.
Right.
So it would be like kind of giving them, then we got to pay them in some way. They have staff. They actually have like paid people who work on Green Market. So, who do we send since they're not like true representatives of this thing that doesn't exist? It's kind of loosely under community programs. So who do we as a town say, here, go to Green Market and set this up? I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, is it something that we're going to commit to for this year?
Us,
Yeah.
I think that the easiest way forward for us to like kind of mitigate issues, financial issues and liability is for us to keep it under community programs and to do some resolutions about the fees, et cetera, et cetera. And then to Elena's point, figure out moving forward what we want it to do. But I think rushing to get it under Green Market or to get a 501c3 created so that they can have a bank account, bylaws and all of that stuff is going to be like, I mean, you probably have to pay somebody to get it done
What if
quickly.
they had an old one?
What do you mean?
Is it something that needs to be renewed every year? What if it,
What are you referring to?
that thing that?
And
Oh, a 501c3, no, there's like creating a company, but it's not for
What if
profit.
there's
so-
one still established from
Co-op?
where it originated?
I don't think
I
that.
don't think there is.
I don't think it's a 501c3 if it was done through the co-op.
No, they probably
was
just use the
using their
co-op.
location as a spot.
And it may have even gone through the co-op at that
Yeah.
time, but things
May
have changed. Because they're technically, they're a co-op, so they're
Right.
not like a for-profit entity necessarily, so. Okay, so I guess we just need to decide if everyone's comfortable keeping them under the umbrella here. We need to formalize that.
You might
Well,
also
we
do,
wanna
we
move
need to sit down and meet with them and tell them like, we're only planning on doing this for another year, and then you need to figure out something else because it's gonna take them the year to establish whatever they're gonna have to do.
I already met with them and told them the same things. I gave them everything, the problems with our location, the problems with the money, the problems with the liability, like. So they're really aware of it. They want to do whatever's the best way to do it. They're in for it. They were all very,
Like, they're gonna do a 501c3, they probably need to get an attorney and somebody to do all of that for them, so I don't know if they understand like, they might understand what the concerns are on the town's end, I don't know if they really understand.
Libby does, because she and I went through this with the PTO. She and I did the 501c3 for the Birchwood PTO when my broke up years ago. So we have some level of experience setting them up. And I think we ended up using an attorney who did it for free for us in Niskayuna. Not that they would do it again. It wasn't a very long process, but it was really the bylaws that took forever because we had to borrow them and then edit them and then go, So I think maybe that's what we say is that we're gonna give you guys a year to kind of come up with the process moving forward, but for now, we'll keep it under here. We just have to make sure we're doing it
That's for them
legally.
to decide.
They
If
might
they wanna
be,
do
they
that
might
roof,
be
or maybe they
aggressive.
can link up with the green market.
Exactly, that's what I mean
That-
though.
But I think we need to communicate to them that this is the last year
Yeah.
that we're gonna be doing it under.
And, or if they can make arrangements for this year to relocate, then that's what they should do. But
Sure.
it depends
The
how
problem is
aggressive,
if they-
how aggressive they are.
Relocated, yes, we could, like, the location issue could be still done, but the problem that still exists is that we are, it sounds like, are the legal entity of the farmer's market. Yes, it's currently.
Right
being
now,
run,
yeah,
And it's been being done wrong
correct.
or incorrectly, so we need to fix that. And then
hand it off.
they need, yes.
Um. Let's bring them in and just say, I mean, if I'm hearing this correctly, we have two ways forward. We cover them this year. We do the resolutions, make sure things are buttoned up correctly, and then say, listen, you have until this date to get your 501c3 or hook up with Green Market or whatever, if you guys want to continue.
They need a 501c3. They are gonna. We're still the entity that's open.
No, they would sort of put the task.
And before we set up a meeting, they can do it again.
We have these conversations. The point of bringing this up is we have to decide whether or not we want to keep it under our purview and in perpetuity, which I don't have a problem with. It just needs to be done the right way.
Right, I don't
Or
mind
do we-
being the point person for this.
Okay.
So, and then maybe you and I can just talk and see if I need to reach out to Green Market, and then I can set up. a
I have
meeting with
all
all
that
this.
contact info. You can do it, or if we're saying that we don't want to keep it under our umbrella anymore, you could just have them do it.
Let them do it.
Well, and then it just depends if, you know, that we'll be still in it for a year. I mean, you know, it's fine.
I have.
Other than that,
Stuff that I have like a.
Okay,
it
sounds
benefits
like
our
we got
people
need
to
a
be able
meeting.
to come here and go to the market, but what doesn't benefit us? Why does somebody else have to do?
It's the community thing. I
It
mean,
it
it's
is, but
we don't have a ton of capacity to run something like that, nor do we have expertise, so it makes sense for an outside entity to do it. But if it's easier legally for us to be like an umbrella for insurance and stuff, then I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I just want it to be done correctly. So I'll start an email chain. I'll include everybody and then a separate one for Green Market. And then if you guys want to kind of, they were very open to anything. So we just got to talk through
Okay.
like
Yeah,
what to do.
it was a good meeting.
Yeah, they were great. So I'll loop you guys in, and then if you guys want to run with it, that would be awesome. And then just tell me what you need me to do.
So, number 7 was just, possible winter events. We didn't get to talk, but, I was just looking at kind of our, going off the piggybacking conversation that we had about doing more outdoor winter things, whether it's snowshoeing. I'd love to possibly do a tubing trip, this year during, winter break. You know, we didn't do it last year.
No,
Yeah.
last year we didn't. I think it was the weather. I don't think.
Yeah, but
It was great last
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Because so I might do some research of just trying to put that back together, but also maybe doing some more outdoor activities where we can, you know, that use the winter months.
Yeah, I tried that. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, well, you know, this
Like the trail, there's no snow to groom.
Yeah, I know.
I
Or
know.
just a
I
thought.
did go to the Leishika when we had that snowfall though, like a couple of weeks ago, and it was awesome.
Was it?
Yeah, I missed it. I'm like, man, it feels like we haven't had snow in so long.
So I'm just gonna put a list together and then we get some more activities for the winter through community programs. That's all I have.
Linda could not be here with us today. She was feeling under the weather, so she asked me to convey that, folks, just check on their website for January news and schedules, and then she'll be back with news and updates the next meeting.
And their program continue on
That's
with
right.
success.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Next meeting is February 6th. That looks fine at 8 AM. Everybody good with that? All right, motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second,
Third.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, adjourned. Thank you. Happy, everybody.
Makes sense.